let's talk about a triangle. And boy, this is not a love triangle, although, you know what, it could be. Let's talk about the triangle of Trump, Epstein, and Putin, and what brought you to craft and deliver that speech that's now gone viral.
Well, the first thing to say about it is something that you would recognize extremely well as an experienced FBI leader with decades of experience. And that is that when you're embarked on an investigation, it's important to frame it correctly. If the US attorney or the attorney general or the special agent in charge doesn't have a clear comprehension of what the target looks like, what the setup is that they're looking into, then the investigation is not going to be successful. And so what this speech was an effort to reset the debate on Jeffrey Epstein and the debate on Trump Russia, to connect the third piece in the triangle, which is that Epstein had innumerable links to Russia that have not been adequately explored, and that they overlap with Trump's links in various ways. So the investigative plan going into this should be not Trump Russia and Trump Epstein, but as you said at the beginning, Trump Russia Epstein. It's one triangle. And there are lots of people out there like you who are podcasters and reporters and researchers and do good work. And I felt that the issue had kind of gotten into a rut and was no longer really addressing the facts as we knew them. And this speech, I think, went that viral because people understood, oh yeah, we were in kind of a rut. And this actually is useful information. And we should do a second look into what Trump, Russia, Epstein looks like.
Yeah, that was a much needed reframing, or at least reminder of what we really should be looking at. And every time, I'm an FBI nerd, so every time I see the file numbers on these 3 million documents, the file number I see that jumps out at me is, of course, child sexual exploitation. I know that by heart. I used to supervise a squad that did that. But what we don't see, Senator, and maybe it's in the 50% of the files that still haven't been released, is any national security classification. We don't see that file number. We don't see the Russia file number. And that if nothing else, your speech served to remind us of what Trump constantly has put down, in many ways successfully, which is the Russia hoax. And you even mentioned in your speech that when asked by someone about Epstein, the first response he had was not that it's a hoax, but rather that it's a Russia hoax. So he, in his mind, don't listen to you and me. In his mind, he associates Epstein with Russia.
Yeah, and of course we know that Epstein traveled to Russia. We know that many of his financial transactions, including the ones that raised suspicious activity reports, were with Russia. We know that many of the girls that he trafficked were from Russia. We know that some of his early benefactors were notorious Russian agents like Ghislaine Maxwell's father. So there's this deep, long thread of Epstein and Russia that really helps, I think, connect the three legs of the triangle together.
Yeah, I want to get into that. Even the documents themselves help point to that triangle. Let's play a clip briefly of you reminding us that Epstein actually bragged about providing Russia with insights on Trump. If we can play that clip, please.
Epstein claimed to have given at least some insight on Trump to the Russians. Epstein met on many occasions with Vitaly Churkin, Russia's representative to the United Nations from 2006 until Churkin's death.
Yeah. This is not, again, don't take our word for it. Let's look at what the DOJ's documents are telling us, what FBI documents are telling us. You talked about wire transfers to Russian banks. I've got at least $1 billion in wire transfers to a sanctioned Russia bank.
Yeah. Two of the well-known Russian banks were directly involved, and it was it was a strange enough thing that when the bank suspicious activity reports that Treasury requires for certain types of transactions were laid out, the two hooks that made these suspicious activity reports, one was it looks like there was danger of child sex trafficking involved.
Right.
And the other was it looked like there was danger of Russian influence and interference involved. So even in the suspicious activity report's own designations, they're connecting Epstein with Russia and with child sex trafficking.
Yeah, those are career financial experts at banking institutions. Those are not politicians or anybody that's biased. They're just saying the algorithm is telling us this is a big problem for vis-a-vis Russia, vis-a-vis possible child sex trafficking.
And one of the things that should be driving people crazy is that this crew, this MAGA crew that came into the Department of Justice, were making all this noise about how they were going to get to the bottom of the Epstein files. They were going to expose Epstein. They were going to open up the scandal and all that. They have not done one step to investigate these suspicious activity reports, even after Chairman Wyden brought them to the surface through his Finance Committee investigation. You would think that when it's called suspicious activity reports, even a genius like Kash Patel could figure out that there might be, suspicious activity involved and do some investigating. But no, that's too much for the MAGA crew because they know where it leads.